jaguar? It's not that leopard print like that. Yeah. It's a leopard.
Oh, leopard.
It's a motherfucking leopard.
He'll be good.
Creeps.
So how was the Red Bull jam?
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. I had a good time. It's always, you never know what you're going to get with those types of things.
Was it in, like, LA? Was it, like, close to here?
You were just in one in Atlanta, right?
I was the one in Miami.
Miami.
Oh, you went to, okay, yeah.
So what is it? It's like it's Red Bull dancer style, but they have like all these different ones all over the place.
Yeah, so it seems like they're just kind of doing qualifiers in all these different places. Or they were doing qualifiers in all these different places, trying to find kind of the best of the U.S. or who would represent the U.S. They're also doing this elsewhere in other countries. And they all kind of have like a finals.
Oh, so they put together a team. How's this going to happen?
No, just like the winner, like,
okay.
The U.S. representative, I think it's
Flown out to wherever they're having the main final.
Which is internationally.
But so at this point, is it just all the people that won those different states and then they're going to battle?
So they did that. So all the people from the U.S., from the different states, they all battled in D.C.
Oh, that already happened.
They already happened.
Who won? Who was the representative?
Angel ended up winning.
Oh, wow. Okay. Dang, yeah, it's crazy.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I remember the first time I met her, too. It was just in New York, and I had no idea who she was. And we were sessioning at some place in Brooklyn, and I was just like, yo, who's this? Who's this girl, man? She's just like, she would not stop dancing. Like, that's how I got to know her. She was like this, like non-stop club dancer. It wasn't really even a club. I guess I never really saw her in a club, but it was a club environment, and she was killing it, dude. Her character, she can just have like a presence about her, It's like I haven't seen a time where she's not like able to tap in. She'll tap into something,
Yeah.
Which is super dope. But yeah, that's crazy. So the Red Bull, yeah, it's weird how this is just like happening right now after COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of us, it's like the whole ecosystem of street dance kind of got shut down for a bit, and then like it seemed like Red Bull was on the takeover.
Like all of a sudden they came up and they were like, we're gonna do an event.
Not even that. They're funding events, a lot of events.
Okay.
They're making sure to put money behind events that want to do something. Anyone who wants to do something, they'll come up.
Yeah, it seems dope. I mean, we need more of that. We need like real sponsors. That's like the main thing that's been on my mind lately is like the economy of street dance. Like, how is it sustainable? Because I talk to Greenz about Greenz, like works in the festival world all the time, and that is like one avenue, and then there's like theater is another avenue, and then there's like the industry, but like freestylers rarely get shine. It's like, are you a freestyler that can do choreo? Are you a freestyler that can create choreo? But that seems like the only. You got to be able to like do a routine, basically.
Like in order to be in shows?
In order to be in shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that makes sense though. It's like there's a level of consistency kind of needed to do take after take after take after take.
Yeah.
And with freestylers, if you don't know how to film freestylers or what you're looking at, you're not gonna get the same thing over and over and over. I think that's why b-boys really do well in that world as well. They can.
Oh, because they can just like do their tricks.
They
and
can
be like,
do
that
a
again.
trick or a combo over and over
Yeah,
again.
they built the dance style is built on sets a lot. I mean, especially in the more recent years, right? Yeah. Damn, it's nuts. Yeah.
I don't know about built on, but it definitely is like, there's definitely an avenue for that. That's kind of taken over.
I mean, you see it kind of in the popping world too. Like my good friend MT Pop is like this. I remember when I first met him, and nobody really knew him except for Vietnam, and I was there, so I like I got the chance to meet him and kind of know him before he blew up. But when I first sessioned with him, it was kind of like I didn't know how to. I just felt like he was so clean that like it seemed like they were just sets, you know. Then I realized that they're like conceptual sets, so he can flip them. He knows the root of the way the combo is built, and he can just flip it any which way. So in his head, he has all these different frameworks and different, just different frameworks, and then he just like interchanges stuff. And I feel like when I first exchanged with him, it was like, dang man, this guy's like the future. We went like, I don't know, like 10 rounds or something, a lot, and I was like waiting for him to run out. The guy doesn't run out. Yeah, it's just everything is super clean. And but I felt like, okay, this is kind of like a mix of somebody that can remember well. Like I feel like that's something I don't do too well, but it's like this. He has like a choreo aspect to him. He has like a b-boy aspect, like where he has his blow up and he has his power, and then he has like the freestyle element too.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've only seen him a couple times. I don't really know his stuff very well. Where's he from again?
Vietnam. Yeah. Saigon. Yeah, super dope. And then you got like people that are like super raw freestylers, and I always felt like it's just hard to find a place. It's hard to find a place. Hard to find avenues to be financially stable. And all the like really dope freestylers, at least from the generation before me, they got jobs. You know, they got like separate jobs doing creative work, but like whether it's graphic design or product design or things like that. And it seemed like dang man, they didn't stick around, but they were the ones that changed the dance game. Like somebody like Tetris, you know, like he was a guy that changed the whole tut game. And you know, it was just kind of a phase of life for him. He still gets down like crazy right now, but he just has like his family and he has his work. And I'm like, dang, is that the path for? There's only a few lifelong dancers.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I think that's the risk of like what it is that we're doing because of the fact that it's like, especially these forms, these street dance, you know, things that we're doing, like, it got introduced as this thing that was like trending. It's like, so, you know, trends go up, down, they don't last. Because hip hop is in this kind of category of being like a popular thing, when it's unpopular, it can get unpopular, basically, at some point. And I feel like right now there's a lane for almost anything that you're doing, but at the end of the day, it's like, you know, dancers are interchangeable, because it's like not anyone's doing anything that's actually new, not really. Kind of taking things and making it new, but we're not altogether this new phenomenon, except for what the younger generation is doing. So I don't know, I just feel like it's difficult to kind of have a lifelong thing when there's always going to be a young generation of dancers who are creating newness, and then, you know, we're finding our pocket barely now, or whenever that is, you know. I don't know, it just feels like it's kind of like the game. It's part of playing this particular game. Unless you go a different route and you make your artistry art instead of like I don't know,
lifestyle
or a commodity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone who really does this is. Most freestyle dancers that I know, I don't know them to separate this as a job and then live their life regularly.
Yeah.
It's like they're freestyle all the time. They're thinking about it. They wake up. They're doing it. You know what I mean? They cook and something. Oh, that's a new concept. Let me flip in the egg. You know, like it's it's like a lifestyle thing. So I don't think it's something you make money off of. It's just the way you live.
Yeah.
It makes sense to have a job on the side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, I would agree. I would agree with that. It's like you can't turn it off. You just like, yeah, you just live in it. Like, it's just weird, you know, like, cause I kind of bridge the gap between the two worlds right now, and I'm like,
Are you working?
yeah, I've been working for like 4.5 years.
Oh, wow.
At a desk job, yeah.
Oh, desk job, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's like when I come out of that world, like I feel like when I go into that world, I'm like really rich, you know, in the experiential way, like in a community way, where I'm like I look at other people in that 9 to 5. I don't want to generalize a 9 to 5, but like most people, they clock in, they clock out, they have their family, and their values are different, but they don't have like the richness of experience where like on the weekend I will go to a club and nobody can really understand the feeling of like sharing a cipher with your friends, you know, and like discovering a new something, you know, or just like enjoying the time together. And then I come back to the office on Monday and they ask me, "Oh, how was your weekend?" And I'm like, "It was dope." I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but you know, yeah, that's the thing, is like with the freestyle, it's like a language that only a few speak, and we're like a small tribe that like can speak with each other, and that's I don't know, the financial, it always comes up because I'm like in that world, and then I feel the societal kind of pressure to like, hey, so what are you doing with it? Hey, like, so like, what's your plan? And I'm like, well, shit, I'm working on the Cobra right now, and the puppet, and you know, it's like, but yeah, what's your 5-year outlook? You know, what's your retirement looking like? And I'm like, yeah. And then I think, well, shit, most dancers are probably feeling the same, to some extent.
I think mainly though it is that societal pull, and like a lot of what the reason that we do it and that people live this way is not based on like a monetary gain with it. And like, you know, it's great when that works out and some things line up for you to like either win or get a job or do this or that, but I think even for those people that, you know, are like old school, like you're saying, like older generation that never really may have made it by like societal standards, there's still like these people that, you know, changed so much or did so much for the whole community, that like the whole value system of street dance and like when you're talking about the economy of it, I think that it lies way more in that realm. And so I think it's interesting because, you know, whether or not you believe that or like you see that or you agree with that, it's kind of like what it underlining like what's happening with it, you know, because not even like even now that dance is probably more popular than it's ever been, you know, right? Like TikTok and like AGT and like America's Best Dance Crew and like all that stuff, like it's the most popular it's ever been probably in history. And even like the true stars of that genre of those places are not like millionaires, you know, like they're doing good, but I think that this, when it really comes back down to it, is like it's an art form that doesn't get a lot of like direct monetary gain because it's based solely in like your physical reality, you know. Whereas like even struggling artists that might make it big, that are like painters or sculptors or people that create a product, it's way easier for them to like blow up and scale their art to make a lot of money. Whereas like I don't even know how you do that in dance. I mean, like the only thing I can think of is being an amazing choreographer. Then you're like starting to like scale up, is because you're not just depending on your physical like body to create the work, you know, and create the actual monetary gain. But so I just don't know how, like when you're looking at the economy of it, how it is sustainable really in most cases. Like it's kind of, it's not about that.
Scale is a huge one, I think, too. Like that word scale, like what makes it scalable. And the fact you talked about choreography and you think about like copyright, right? Like owning something. And like, so say I have like a special way I do a certain movement, right?
Copyright those tuts.
Like, can I copyright that? Can I own that shit? No, you can't own it because you can't prove origin, right? You can't, and plus it's gonna be different every time it comes out. But with choreo, you might be able to copyright. I don't know the laws on that, but you might be able to copyright something where it's like, you know, when you write a song or something, like you have the musical notes. Like if you had the musical notes paired up with the movement, you might be able to say, okay, that's my shit. And that might be.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I mean, movement in general is just like such an ephemeral thing. Like you can't really place it in real time on like a ledger that will record it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this thing that exists in the moment. Even the video and stuff, or you know, like, so for instance, if you were gonna say like, okay, this dance, like the Thriller dance, like what if they would have copyrighted it? And all these people now that are like doing it every year at Halloween and shit, they would have to pay royalties or something like that. Like it's still like, well, okay, if I like put my hand slightly this way, am I still doing it? You know what I mean? And like it's, it's like, I don't know if it'll ever be something, and that's kind of what makes it really magical too, but also kind of puts this veil of like struggle to it, maybe. You know what I mean? If like if you are only trying to make it through that, it's very possible, but it's probably one of the hardest things to do, unless you're dope at TikTok.
Unless you're dope at TikTok, yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think I think maybe not a move or movement could be copywritten.
Yeah.
But maybe like actually I think I read about this. I think Joe Knight is doing something like this or has done something like
Oh,
this.
really?
With single ladies. The Single Ladies Beyonce video.
Oh yeah.
That choreography.
That choreography is
Okay.
super popular, obviously, right?
Yeah.
To this day, if I do this, I'm playing.
Yeah.
So, I think somewhere on something he was able to copyright the combination of movements. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But,
As soon as you reorganize them, it's possible that it just,
But reorganizing them makes it different.
It
And I
makes it
think so.
different.
I'm thinking that like maybe there was a way to do it with a group of movements in a selective order. Because you wouldn't do those movements in that order in any other case, not even naturally or organically, unless you were trying to do those movements. So I think in that sense, possibly. But when I think it's hard because some things like all of Wiggle's signatures, because when he was making and doing these music videos, he made sure to put his signatures in the video so that way he could own it. That was his way of owning it at that time, from what I understood. And so, he put the knee backslide, in the video, or he put the wiggle walk, all these things. And it was a way of him like saying, "Yep, I did that. See that in that video? That was me.
Yeah.
That's my shit. That's the." So I feel like with movements that are like original like that, I don't think anyone's gonna do just a back knee slide just the same way he was doing it.
Yeah, I mean, but is he getting paid if somebody did it?
I don't think he got. I mean, do I think he copyrighted or No, I don't think he did any of that work. But what happens when a person creates a combination of movements? Because that's technically what that is. Combination of movements that you wouldn't be able to get unless that person had it. Could you be able to copyright that? I think you could.
Yeah. It's possible.
I just don't want to really go down that road. I can honestly say I don't want to go down that road.
We're gonna spend the next 20 years in fucking courts and shit, just defending our
That's
movement.
mine. But no, I tilted my head like this. No. You did the whole.
What if you took there's all this talk about like the metaverse and all this sort of stuff right now, right? But so what if you took like a projection mapping of your movement, even your freestyle, right? And it's registering it, right? It's creating a complete three-dimensional scan of you. So in a virtual reality world, you could see yourself freestyling. And then just like YouTube does, that when you use a song, like even if it's slightly remixed, you might get a copyright, right? It's like, imagine that it's scanning other shit to compare it to, and then be like, actually it's 60% like that. You gotta pay to do it. You gotta pay her, you know.
That groove, that groove's 60% the same.
Yeah.
Pushing 75.
Actually, it's 25% this person, 25% this person. You're gonna have to pay out of $1, quarter.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it gets tricky, and I that's what I'm saying. I don't even know. I don't even know. It's like, yeah, how do you? I wouldn't want to go down that route, but also, with that in mind, I think we're stepping in a direction where this won't matter as much, as far as the physicality of things in the real world. Everything's going to be digital, and so that body scan you're talking about, that's kind of what like VR is, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to put on a suit or anything. You just set the camera up, it's scanning your body movements, you know, and you're seeing people like cipher in the digital space.
Yeah.
And like, with that, you can only imagine it's like, oh, okay, there's a way to capture movements. And if someone were to say, okay, these are my movements, but then they just alter them. You know, you don't have to have a body anymore. Like, you don't have to be in a physical space with these movements anymore. You can be in another space, and then what do you think's gonna happen next? You just start flipping around. Like, maybe I want my knee to be backwards, this way, and I'm gonna edit it to where it's like,
edit it.
and then my neck's gonna be like this. The little body that you're seeing is like not even.
Yeah.
See, that brings up like this thing. I've been like thinking about the street dance world and how freestyle art can stand alone by itself. You know, economically, it's not like the most, monetarily, it's not the most valuable thing, but spiritually, I would say it's probably one of the most valuable things. But when you think about what's next, I mean, like, shit, I'm trying to think. I was going somewhere with that. Hold on. Shit. I had a good fucking thought. It was God. It's gone.
Where are we going?
It'll come back.
Monetary. It's not monetary, but spiritual.
Yeah,
Street
but that was a
dance.
side note. That's what got me
Got me
off.
Side note. Give it too much energy. That side note, too much energy. Yeah, I gotta say this too.
Say like in the future of freestyle dance.
Mm-hmm.
This was another thing I wanted to ask you. It's like, so we got this Red Bull dancer style stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We got battles. This is something I've always wanted somebody to create, because I don't want to create it. I just want to throw the idea out there. It's like, dang, that's a beautiful cat, man.
I saw that too.
Yeah. Is like creating a league. I think probably B-boys are already doing
A
this.
league?
Yeah, like basically like a fantasy league for street dance. As in, okay, this event, so you have some sort of board that ranks certain events as far as, okay, this is the skill level, or it's a local jam, so it's worth 50 points. If it's an international jam, it's worth 200 points. And so you have all these events all over the place, and then you have this category, like a website that has all the different rankings of people that are racking up points. You get points for passing prelims, you get points for the placement, and then you get the website connects like each individual's name to their bio, how to reach them, and then so people can, like, it's a good platform for people to be seen. As far as like, if people want to do research, it connects to their YouTube, it connects to like highlight clips of them, and so it's all organized in this one page, so you can find any street dancer you want, and then you create like a fantasy league, so like fantasy football, where people get engaged in a certain way, where they're like, yo, who you got, you know, who's on your squad, who's in your crew, and then you can like you can choose who's playing and shit, and then you're like, yeah, you know, my homie's gonna win in Atlanta this week, guaranteed. And so you just have this squatting trying to rack up the most points. I think it would get a lot of people engaged that aren't necessarily physically here, but like around the world that are fans too.
Sure. I like aspects of that. I could say, like, honestly, I don't know. I'm so on the fence with all this stuff like that.
It's gonna be drama for sure. It's
You
gonna
know,
be a lot
it's
of
gonna
drama.
be so dirty. I can just feel it. It's like,
Why is it gotta be dirty?
I just can tell people are just not gonna.
See, look, what? tell me what the difference is between that and like a fantasy football league, where say some player in the NFL is like, he's like, yo, I'm ranked like that. You gonna rank me like that? You know, I'm the best. You know, how you gonna put me on the? Are you gonna red line me or red shirt me? You know, it's like, but they don't care. They don't care because they're racking in dough. It's not about that.
Well, we're not racking in dough, and I think so.
So then we're gonna get.
Not only that, that's a sport, and I don't think a lot of us see it as
That's
sport.
super true.
You know?
Damn it, dude.
That's the only. That's the. But honestly, this has actually started. Something like this.
Oh really?
I've seen something going around. I think there's a page where they're ranking dancers. They're mostly starting with the European circuit, like that whole circuit that we're not really a part of.
See, we're not even ranked, bro. How about that?
Yeah.
Nah.
But
I do see that as a possibility, though, for the future of, like, getting... Like, imagine if so many people were engaged that were also just not dancers, that were... Because there's people that love dance and they're, like, super interested, but as far as, like, for the last long while, maybe forever, the people that really know who's on top and, like, who is battling and, like, who is really current and stuff like that, it's just dancers, really. Like, the rest of the public doesn't really know that, really. You know, even if they really like dance, it's not common that they, like, are following it that closely. But if there was something that was uniform that kind of treated it more like that, like a sport, for lack of a better word, you could get so many more people involved, and then there could be, like, a lot of funding behind that. And I feel like there's some of that going on, but that's kind of something, like, that's what I thought about when you were talking about comparing it to fantasy football, and that's almost like similar to what we were saying, like Red Bull is like the main sponsor right now, pretty much. It's kind of Monster, like, a little bit, but they're basically just sponsoring all the extreme sports, and dance is like a sector that they're like interested in.
Yeah.
But if it became this thing where, like, people were betting and everybody knew the roster and there were, like, teams and, like, all this kind of stuff where it's like, you know, like, if it did lean in that direction, it could get to a point where there would be, like, all this funding for the superstars, and, like, then it would be a scenario where people could, like, turn this into something that, and I'm not even saying that that's, like, what should happen. I'm just, when you start talking about it, that's what I was seeing, is like, oh, that when you think about how much is behind sports and, like, they're, like, I don't even know if that, I don't know, people love it, but to me it doesn't seem like that's going to last, but I also am biased because I don't really like sports, but it's kind of, like, boring. Like, imagine if it was something way doper, like dance, you know what I mean, that had, like, crazy sponsors and huge competitions that much more people were involved in. It's like on the verge of that, kind of, like, it has been forever, but it's been at the same, like, it's been at the same cap for a long time. Like, it hasn't really gotten much bigger.
So, like, what I would say is, like, there's pros and cons to that, for sure, right? I'm thinking about, like, how people go get affected. Like, certain people just gonna fall to the bottom of the bucket, right? Some people are just gonna get silenced. They're not on the roster. They're not showcased, and they might be dope, right? Maybe they just don't even want to engage in that type of world, right?
Yeah.
But I also think, you know, despite what its imperfections, I think it would create opportunity. Like, I think it would get people more engaged. Obviously, like, who's choosing the judges, right? and all that basically is like who's choosing the judges, and then certain styles rise to the top because these people are like certified judges, and this we're actually just gonna do tradition and not innovation, and like so there's all those questions to be had too when you start to define things, and like what is popping still is the question. It's like how are you gonna have somebody that does boog versus somebody that's a waiver and all that stuff.
I got into this thing for like art reasons and expression. Anything else outside of that, I don't know. I can't. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's hard to wrap my head around as far as that aspect, just because I know what it gives to people and to myself, what it has given, And so, fuck with the sauce. You know what I mean?
I mean that is.
It's the risk,
It's the magic, though. It's like the magic. Like I like not being known. I also like we're not known to like the mainstream world. I like that, In the dance world, I like to be unknown too, but it doesn't happen that way, Like if you keep showing up, people are gonna start to know who you are. But I like the fact that the art is, what do you call it? Like it's temporary. It's evaporating as it's done, So you can't really capture it unless you're there, and it only exists in the memory.
Right.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing about dance.
Yeah, because then you can just reflect on that thing, and you can try and capture it with a camera, but it's like, it's not.
I mean, it's not the same because there's an energy there. It's just like anything else. It's like how like a woman or any person, but I'm specifically thinking about it in my mind right now. But how a woman might make you feel in the moment will determine, based off of the chemicals firing in your brain, how beautiful you find this person to be. They actually can shift. You know what I mean? With them talking to you and communicating.
Oh, 100%.
Just energetically speaking, just feeling like that reaction. It's the same with the dance. It's like, I don't really get to know how I feel or how this thing makes me feel unless it's in person. And when it comes to video, this is actually kind of the downfall for a lot of freestyle dancers. When it comes to video, it gets different because it's a different medium. You're combining artistries. You're not just filming your dance. You're filming and dancing. And it's like a different thing going on. I think sometimes people treat it like a cipher with the camera type thing. That's cool. But there's a level to it that's that makes it. It's like you're documenting. Not only documenting, you're telling us what to look at. You're a frame. You're telling us what to see, and you're showing us and introducing us to your world. So it's like there's ways that we can do this and do it like according to our artistries and become like a painter with what we do. And we can keep what we have here in person, raw and real and exactly what it is. And maybe even evolve it in a sense of like bringing more artistry to it. But I just think we're not really capitalizing because we're not in the mind state to capitalize.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the essence of it too.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say earlier. Is like I feel like that's the one thing about the street dance world is like there's so much talent and there's so much raw expression and dopeness in it that we gotta think about, like I said, freestyle could stand on its own, but like layering artistry, like what you do with film and edits and all that sort of stuff, and like just like perceiving how to perceive the dance, how to capture it in different ways, not just in the physical way, but like thinking about whether it's film or writing or lighting and all this sort of stuff, like layering the artistry to, yeah, I mean, we talked about that too. It's like, it's just like, yeah, making it more, at least to try and like reach out and grab others that are looking for something that they can't find in just like the way we're dressed right now and how we freestyle. But maybe it's just supposed to be like that, and maybe it's like, I'm content with where it's at now, but my mind just spins on this stuff, you know. It's just like, it's like a thought experiment. Like, is there something we're missing, or is this, we got it?
Yeah, I don't think we're ever missing anything, but I think there's always gonna be people. I mean, we all are trying to evolve, regardless. You know, no matter where we're at, we're trying to evolve and move to the next level. So even in this, it's going to have to shift. Doesn't mean it has to shift necessarily to money or to, you know, to this type of way or that type of way, but it is naturally doing it. I think there's a good amount of people who are catching game with like, how can I freestyle and make money? There's also people who are like, how can I freestyle and also work this 9 to 5? Like, they're fine with separating it. Like, I find a lot of peace separating dance and work, for sure.
That's why I did
Yeah,
it.
sometimes it sucks to make dance your work, honestly. That's a lot of I think that's one of the things that I think a lot of freestylers are benefiting from. Not that, like, you know, for me, it's not even like I'm some amazing like person in the industry, but I've done a lot of work as a dancer and like tried to get paid doing that. Like, and it's a lot of times it sucks. You know, it like sucks out the joy, and you know, I think that there's something to be said about separating the two and making it something that is like more, you're doing it because you love to do it and not because like you have to do it, you know. Like, there's a lot to be said about that.
Can I ask, what sucks about it?
For me, like, it's when I find myself doing like having to feel like dance is work, you know, being like, oh, I gotta show up and like I'm not really like wanting to do this right now. For me, it's been mostly in circumstances where like I wasn't actually that into the dance that I was doing, whether it was the choreo or like just the environment, like I'm dancing at somebody's, like, you know, for a minute there I did like some bar mitzvahs and I was like, oh no, never again. You know what I mean? Because that was just like, to me it felt like I was like selling my soul by like using these skills that I had like valued so much or whatever to like be put forth toward this type of entertainment, you know, like that felt like wrong to me, so I stopped doing that real quick. I think I only ever did two. But yeah, I did two. Like,
dang, you lucky.
I mean, I don't know. And they're not always all bad. It depends on the crew, for sure.
They tend to always be bad.
Okay, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they suck.
It's like, so like that, and it's really just that kind of thing where you're doing something that you get a certain type of feeling from, and then you're applying that in a situation that kind of takes that feeling away. That's what I have noticed when I really don't like it. And there's other times where, you know, I've like done a dance job and it was a shit, and like I had so much fun, and like I was like, can't believe I'm getting paid for this. Like, so there's definitely both sides, but I'm just saying that's one of the things that like you got to look at, like, oh, having these separate isn't a bad thing, maybe, you know, like there's a lot of value in that because you can really give yourself fully to it and not worry about whether or not it's gonna pay your bills, you know.
I got hella sidetracked with the thought of y'all dancing at bar mitzvahs.
Dude, getting granny in the middle and stuff.
Oh man,
it's crazy. You should do one. You should do one just to see what it's like.
I gotta do one. I've never done one. No.
Okay.
So I think I think for me, like what you said is like there is a benefit to separating work and dance. like for me to experience them completely separately, and then also experiencing work with dance, and like, but having them separate, not being financially dependent on my art, allowed me to see like, okay, what do I like about this thing? Because like when I did industry work, I was like, dang, I don't universally just love dance. Like I'm not like one of those people that just like put me anywhere. I love to dance, pull my fucking strings. I'm not that type of person. I know there's people out there like that, and get your bread, because that's dope. I mean, you're gonna enjoy any environment. But yeah, I liked real specific things about like dance work. Like I like teaching, I like teaching, and I like performing. Like I like having artistic freedom to create like a showcase. I really like that, and I don't necessarily really like battles. I just like, I'm doing one at freestyle. We're gonna be doing freestyle session. It's like Devious asked me to do it. I'm not gonna say no to Devious. That's my boy. So it's like, I also was just like, let me just enter this space again, because I had come up in battles so much that like now I'm just a different person. My dance is different, and I just wanted to be like, hey, might as well just put something down on paper, and if I inspire like one person, hey, it's all good, It's worth my time to inspire one person to go for a couple of days. Like, you could change someone's life for the better, so.
Also, you might just win.
I was thinking, I was like, man, yeah, I don't know. It's like, you can't even enter with that type of mentality, It's like winning is just, it has to be a far byproduct of, because every day when you show up to practice, I can't think about like, if I battle this person, this is what I'm gonna do, and battle this person, and then like come up with these blows. I'm like, because the what I loved about battling was to be able to completely tap in and like watch the footage back and be like, I've never done that before, that's the feeling I'm looking for.
Oh yeah.
So
So you guys are saying similar things in the sense that like dance is like a place where your soul resides. It's like whatever's happening there, when you dance, it's like, oh, I would never want to tap or touch or tamper with that thing, because that's the good stuff, and it's non-performative. It's not thinking beforehand. It's just in the moment. There's gushy, right? And like that part resonates with a lot of dancers, especially freestyle dancers specifically.
Yeah. Totally.
Freestyle dancers specifically, and this is why it doesn't work as far as making money or monetizing this particular thing, because it's too close to home. It's actually how you feel. It's like in there. It's like, wait, what? I have to like just bring this out on the drop of the dime? Wait, to what zone? To this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just not the same, because it's this whole process of that's personal. But if you take that out, so you take that part out, and somebody just like, say you're like a robot or a machine, and there's like a little drive, and you just took it out, and all of a sudden you're like, so you have all of these skills in your body, minus that drive, that passion. More likely than not, you'd probably be doing those jobs. You'd be able to. This thing is out of the way. You know what I mean? This feeling that allowed, that kept you from being performative in a certain type of aspect. I just feel like if there was a way that we could do that for ourselves, then you'd see a lot more freestylers doing a lot more jobs like that. If there was a way we could separate it, like, this is where the gushy stuff is. This is what I want. I like this. I'm gonna go home and have that. Go to the session and have that. But you know what? I'm gonna do this job. I'm gonna put myself out there for this job. I need to shut that off. If that's possible, than we would. I don't think it is possible quite as much, just because that's, I don't know, I got better based off of that feeling. You know what I mean? The thing that drove me to the studio, or on the corner, wasn't, this me trying to make money. It was trying to get it out and let it out. And so through that, I've gotten better in my skill set, whatever that means. So I don't know. I just feel like they don't really mesh well together.
You gotta find the sweet spot.
That sweet spot. And on that note, it's time for practice.
Yeah.
That was longer than